All right, let's get right into it. We're going to cover a core truth about trading that honestly almost never gets mentioned. It's all about turning those market surprises from something you fear into something you can actually plan for.
You know, there's this hard truth that most trading courses just kind of gloss over. It's a key concept that nobody seems to tell you when you're just starting out.
And that is that the price doesn't move smoothly just because you drew some perfect lines on a chart. Look, the market has its own agenda, right? And it very rarely lines up perfectly with how you thought things were going to go.
Okay, so this is where it gets really interesting. We're going to look at a scenario that every single trader runs into. That moment the market just seems to break all of your carefully laid plans.
So, picture this. You're watching the market, you're looking at your chart, and everything seems to be moving along pretty much exactly how you expected. The setup looks clean, the trend is your friend, everything looks fine. And then, bam, out of nowhere, this happens. A gap.
And there was absolutely no warning signal, right? No candlestick pattern that told you this was about to happen. It wasn't some gradual move that you could have reacted to. The price didn't just elegantly walk down to your level.
No, instead it was just a pure, instantaneous jump. It completely skipped over a whole range of prices.
And of course, your first thought is probably something like, wait a second, how on earth did it skip my level?
That frustration, it just hits you instantly. Because in your head, the price was supposed to respect your lines, and when it doesn't, you just feel completely blindsided.
And that's usually the exact moment that little voice in your head pipes up and says, why does this always happen to me? Maybe trading just isn't for me.
So what is really going on here? Well, it all comes down to a fundamental belief that most beginners don't even realize they have.
See, deep down, whether we want to admit it or not, a lot of us operate on this unspoken belief. If my analysis is good, the price will move cleanly. We just assume that making a correct prediction should be rewarded with this smooth, predictable market action.
But here's the thing. Markets don't owe you smooth movement. At all. Big news events happen. Trading sessions change over. Sometimes, liquidity just vanishes.
So here is the crucial shift in perspective you need to make. Gaps are not some rare thing or a sign that you personally messed up. They are a normal, recurring, and frankly expected part of the market landscape.
And this brings us to the real mistake, the one you might not even realize you're making. The problem isn't the gap itself, it's your preparation, or more likely, your lack of preparation for it.
Just think about it for a second. You spent all this time planning for specific price levels, your entry, your stop loss, your take profit, but you probably spend zero time planning for market surprises, for those moments when the market does something completely out of the blue.
So what happens? The gap occurs, and your plan just ends. And the second your plan is gone, emotion takes over. You panic close, you widen your stops, or you just freeze up. Not because the gap itself is so dangerous, but because you never planned for this kind of jumpy movement.
Okay, so let's look at this exact same market event, but through two totally different lenses. The gap is identical, but the outcome is decided entirely by one single thing: preparation. On one side, you've got the unprepared trader. The gap happens and their brain just floods with stress and panic, which of course leads to emotional decisions. But on the other side, the prepared trader stays totally calm because this exact scenario was already part of their plan. Same gap, completely different result.
So how do you get from being the panicking trader to the calm one? Well, it's all about adopting the mindset of a professional.
See, professional planning isn't really about predicting every single move. It's about deciding what you'll do if the unexpected happens. I really want you to let this one sink in, because it's probably the most important lesson in this entire explainer video. Gaps do not ruin trades. A lack of contingency planning is what actually ruins trades.
And that's the fundamental difference. When the unexpected happens, amateurs freeze up and panic. Prepared traders, though, they don't. They already have a plan for this exact situation, and they simply execute it.
So, what's your practical takeaway from all of this? Here's a really simple action you can take right now to make a massive change in your trading. Before you even think about your next trade, I want you to answer this one question. If the price jumps past my level, what is my worst acceptable outcome? Now, this is a simple but really powerful two-step process. First, you have to clearly define it, know the exact number, the precise outcome. Then, and this is the hard part, you have to truly accept it emotionally before you ever click the button to get into the trade.
Just by taking that one single step, defining and accepting your worst-case scenario up front, you transform a potentially terrifying market surprise into something that's completely manageable and, well, survivable.
Go ahead and save this explainer so you can come back and ask yourself this key question before you place your next trade.
Ultimately, success in trading isn't about perfectly predicting the future. It's about building a plan that can withstand it. For more simplified trading concepts that help you understand how markets actually work, make sure to follow this channel for our daily explainers.